Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the RapChat podcast. I'm your host, Luke Dick.
I'm Elias Eldridge.
And I'm Sam Kenny.
And before we head into the podcast, if you're watching on YouTube, make sure to like, make sure to comment, and also to subscribe. And if you're listening on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever else you get your podcasts, make sure to leave us a rating and also leave us a review. You can find us on Instagram and TikTok and Twitter at RapChat Podcast, where we post new clips of the show every week. What is going on, guys? So excited to talk about this week.
Man,
I know, me too.
You said this before the episode. You're like excited to talk about the Spurs game, and then we've got the Bucks game tonight. I don't know. It's just, guys, I feel like every team is getting kind of healthy right now, right? Like the COVID protocols have died down a bit. It's fun.
Knock on wood.
Yeah.
Yeah, no kidding.
Yeah, man, it's been a great, entertaining week of Raptors basketball, man.
Oh, man.
Great 2022 so far.
Totally. And I feel like we're finally, not only are we finally seeing everybody back healthy, but, I mean, and we can talk about this during, about the Spurs game, but I think we're also seeing a different level of continuity and connection between the guys. You know, I think we're really starting to see some gelling happening, but, I'll let Sam do his game recap, and then we can get into everything. So, today's structure of the podcast, we're going to be doing our game recaps, and then we're going to be heading into power forward list, or small forward list, or power forward list?
Power forward.
Power forward.
Probably do player of the week before it,
okay,
though.
So we'll do game recaps, player of the week, our power forward lists, and then do looking ahead for tonight against the Bucks.
All right.
Okay.
So I'll get right into it. Raptors played the Spurs January 4th, first night of a back-to-back. We'll see how that goes. Last game, a bit of a homestand.
As I mentioned this yesterday, I was like, why are all our home games happening right now when the arena's empty?
I know. Maybe that's why we're playing so well, though. You know, guys are shooting. There's less pressure. They're playing in front of their family.
Also, the away team's probably so thrown off.
Yeah. Yeah, last game of the homestand. We're actually back at home. We're only going to Milwaukee. Then we're back, I think, against... I forget who we're playing, but we're back home soon. First half, not going to lie, sloppy first quarter and first half of the second. The Raptors are really getting hurt by my guy, Devin Vassell. 3 for 4 from 3. And then Jakob Poeltl, all first half, was killing us inside, which I guess gave me a little bit of pause about... the size problem, right? Because Poeltl is kind of one of the bigger centers, and he plays with force down low, and we really had trouble guarding him. And some of the handoff actions, I felt like he was getting to the rim pretty easily.
That's something that you can see. If Jakob Poeltl's doing that, what's Embiid going to do at
totally.
do that? How's Embiid going to do, especially in the playoffs too, when he's going to really be the center of attention on offense for them? Yeah. So that is a concern,
but I mean, man, the reason why while the team itself, Pascal got into foul trouble within the first couple minutes here. I thought that offensive foul was a weird call.
It was some BS.
That was so strange. I almost I didn't even see anything. I was like, what? No, what?
Yeah, that was weird. And then for some reason, Nick took out Scotty for a minute.
Yeah,
what's going on here? And I'm like, if Pascal gets his third foul now,
that's been their rotation the past few games, where they'll start the game with the 5, and then. They take Scotty out for a few minutes and put in Kem. Yeah. And then they bring Scotty back in for, I think they've been doing Pascal or OG, one of the two.
Well, Pascal this time, right? Because of the foul trouble.
Yeah, because the fouls. Yeah.
But this game, man, I thought there's so many positives to take. The reason why this was still a game, or the Spurs didn't get out to that big of a lead, because the Spurs did start well, was Fred VanVleet was just his play continues. He had 13 points in the first quarter, played all 12 minutes. 3 for 5 from 3. And then Gary Trent Jr. really found his stroke in this first quarter. He's been kind of struggling shooting the ball of late, but he was 4 for 6 and 2 for 3 from the 3-point line for 10 points in the first quarter. And that's what really, Pascal was on the bench, and those two, that backcourt, they were awesome all game, but that first quarter was really important. And we were actually up 1 after the first, 30-29. Second quarter, the Raptors, the offense looked really clunky, but the defense was also really good at the beginning of that second quarter. The Spurs couldn't get out to much of a lead. The Spurs are also missing in this one DeJounte Murray, Lonnie Walker, and Doug McDermott. That's 3. I mean, that's their best player and 2 key rotation players. And in DeJounte's case, their best defender. So, I mean, the Spurs defense is already really bad. But in this game, it was just like, man, when Fred was like super hot and they weren't even guarding him. Like,
yeah, they weren't at all.
Like they can't slow down Fred without DeJounte Murray, man.
Yeah.
Well, and we saw Pascal and Fred do the same thing that we've been seeing in the last couple games, where Pascal will drive inside, kick it out to Fred, and Fred just got the open three. And at the end of the day, it's like, I mean, like, I think sometimes on this, well, at least some of the plays on the Spurs must have thought that, like, you know, Fred was just any other guard out there, especially when he was playing off ball. And it was like, yo, like, you got to realize this guy has been scoring like 30 plus points for the last, 5-6 games, man. Like, you got to get out on him, man. He's been our key scorer, man. Like, he's been that guy. And I really think that, like, you're right. They just left him wide open.
He's shooting 50% from catch and shoot threes on the season. He's leading the league in it.
Wow, that's crazy.
I think I also think he's top 3 in the league in 3-pointers made per game. And he's been just absurd. Like him and Pascal's chemistry. Like, I thought it was great. Pascal gets in foul trouble early in the game, and then he comes right back as if nothing happened, and him and Fred are just clicking. Like, Fred found him twice in the first half on plays where Pascal had Josh Primo on him down low, and Fred threw a couple beautiful hit-ahead passes just for the easy layup. Like, that is such easy offense, and if you can capitalize on that, because like when you think about it, with this big lineup, one of Pascal, OG, Scotty are gonna have like that type of mismatch a lot of the time, and for Fred to be like looking up and to make that pass, like that's like those are like the easiest buckets you can get.
For sure.
I thought the bench showed a lot of great things in the first half, especially Chris Boucher. The stat line tonight isn't gonna jump out at you. He only finished with 4 points, 7 rebounds, 2 blocks, 2 steals. I thought his defensive energy was awesome.
Totally.
That's been consistent for the past little bit.
Yep. And he's playing so like just smart within himself. I don't care. I couldn't care less about the 3-point shot falling.
Not me either.
He's efficient.
He's not doing
especially
it.
when he's not really
like
taking a whole
lot.
He's
not randomly pulling. Exactly.
No, he's not. He took how many take? He took 2.
Yeah.
So
and it's like
if he
Chris
goes over
Boucher
2,
takes,
if he goes over 2 every game,
yeah,
that's fine.
0 for 2 every.
He's
I'm just about to say, like, like it goes. If you go 0 for 2, 0 for 3, 1 for 3, like, I'm fine. I'm fine with that. I can totally live with Chris taking those shots.
Yep.
I'd rather that than 2 for 10, which he's done in the past.
Yeah. I want Chris inside, and his defense. Like, I think it's been. He had that tough game against Cleveland when everyone was out, but that was such a weird game. But ever since that awesome Philly game, he's just been in a small role, but he knows, I think he realizes, like, every game I'm getting, like, 20 minutes off the bench, basically. I'm coming in, playing good defense. He's almost always playing with starting players, so he doesn't have to do too much. He's got Pascal or Fred setting him up, and I think that's been really working out for him. Another one in the first half, Justin Champagny hit 2 threes in the first half.
2 corner threes.
No, he was shooting with no hesitation.
Oh my god, because he's really
form is
struggled
looking nice.
It looked amazing.
Setting his feet really quick.
Yep, and that was one of the reasons, right? He didn't get drafted. Was that 3-point shot, because he defends at a high level, great instincts like to cut, and great instincts on getting on the old boards. And he had a nice tip in the second half.
Yeah,
but like if that corner 3 is like a consistent shot for him, like that's a real role player. Like I think of him almost like a Yuta type of guy. Like smart players who he's not as athletic as Yuta, but if he can develop the 3-point shot,
high energy, and fundamental,
and just knows how to play, right? Knows how to make the right pass, reads the game well. I think I really like Justin Champagny, man. In that first half, like seeing that 3-point shot go in, and then the second half,
he plays bigger than he is too.
Totally, yeah. He's like what 6'5"?
He was 5 for 6, I think.
Yeah. Oh yeah, 5 or 6. And in that second half, he hit an above the break 3 and a contested wing 3. So showing it from all over the court. Second half, first half, the score was we were 68 to 53. Just a really good all around half. Like I like that we weathered some inconsistencies offensively, and we're able to this is like we've seen the Raptors against lesser opponents. Like whether it was OKC.
Yeah, I was about to say OKC.
Yeah, we let the Magic hang around that one time, so it's nice to see the Raptors actually like take care of business, which they've been doing recently. Second half, once again, Fred VanVleet, man, like every shot he took, I thought was going in. Like he had a ridiculous fadeaway bank shot at the end of the clock. And it's like, of course that goes in, right?
The turnaround at the free throw line,
No, well, and I don't want to listen. I'm not making any comparisons here. I remember we got to be very strict on
Michael Jordan.
I'm talking about comparisons, but man, recently when Fred has been shooting the ball, I have been getting like Stephen Curry vibes in terms of how often that ball is dropping. Like it's unbelievable sometimes.
And the arc too.
Yeah, it's just like he'll take these shots, and I'm just like, and then they just go in, and I'm like, there's no way. Like there's no fucking way.
It looks effortless the same way Steph's shot looks effortless.
Yeah, totally. And
he's barely doing anything. Just goes right in.
Well, and I think another huge point we always have to make with Fred is that this guy is undrafted. Crazy. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's easy to say this about players who you expect to perform in that sort of way, right? Like Stephen Curry, all these types of guys who are like Ja Morant, guys who are expected to perform at this level. Whereas we have a guy like, and it just goes to show, like, I think just personally, I think it just goes to show that this whole development system that the Raptors have is the way of the future. I think this is the way that NBA teams have to start seeing NBA basketball instead of looking for picks and finding gems. I think it's like you might have a much better chance at developing players who already have a great base and are great fundamentals. But Fred VanVleet literally went from an undrafted player to an elite NBA player, and now he's an elite NBA three-point shooter. Like when you watch him, he is. There's no question Fred VanVleet is an elite NBA player. You cannot. There's no world where that is a possibility right now that he's not an elite player. And I think that it just. You know, when we talk about Scotty staying and people we want to stick with this core group. I think that one of the big reasons why there's a big motivation to stay with the Raptors is because we have this developmental mentality. We've got this mentality where it's like if you grind for us, like Justin Champagnie is another great example. If you grind for us, we will give you those minutes, and we're going to develop you into the type of player that you want to be because you want to play in this league, but also the player that is going to be a valuable player in the NBA in general. So,
yeah,
and these are the guys that Masai finds.
Yeah,
these Masai finds these guys that are willing to work hard, are willing to get there, and like that's why it looks so consistent with us. A lot of teams don't find these guys consistently because they don't look for guys who are strictly work ethic. They come in to work, and a lot of guys come in, they play basketball, but they also. You know, it's not their main focus all the time. But the guys that we get, we evaluate and see what their main focuses are. And if the number one thing is basketball, then that's what we go for.
And also for a guy like Fred at, his size, his undisclosed height, and probably almost always the least athletic guy on the court, like he's no other option but to fully commit himself, right? He can't get by just on size or athleticism. He has to be like the hardest working guy out there, or else he's not an NBA player, right? If he's not the hardest working guy out there. Yeah,
like the fact that he is built the way he is really says a lot, and doing as good as he is really speaks to his work ethic and really speaks to how hard he's grinded to be there and to be that good. Like that does not come easy, man.
No, absolutely
to be one
not.
of the best basketball players on the planet at 6 feet, like that's crazy.
I know. It's pretty absurd, man. Keeping going with the second half, we actually talked about this a bit in the group chat about how, Elias, you brought up that you were a bit worried about Scotty's usage rate. I thought the second half actually was... So Fred VanVleet said this in his interview after the game, that he's kind of playing the Marc Gasol role, which is something we've talked about, and that when Scotty's getting the ball, he's really like... Fred VanVleet is dictating a lot of the offense, and Pascal is, but I feel like Scotty's really getting guys in position. Like every time he had the ball, he was making a positive play.
Yeah, totally.
And I didn't think in the second half he was
right
really
when he gets
featured.
the ball too. Right when he gets the ball, his eyes are looking everywhere.
Yeah.
Man, that no look pass to Pascal, because most players I can't remember who set the screen or who was trying to take a charge, but one of the Spurs.
I think it was Primo.
Okay, yeah. So Josh Primo tries to set himself up to take a charge on Scotty. And so honestly, I think a lot of NBA players would have gotten called for that charge and they would have taken it, right? Whereas Scotty, he has this I don't even know what to describe, this super human sort of level of court awareness. You know what I mean? Like he didn't even look at Pascal a single time when he's taking that ball up the court.
No.
And
he just knew Pascal probably said something. He just knows.
He knows exactly where he is.
He just knows exactly where to put
it.
A
no-look dump-off pass. Scotty's able to step just in time out of the way to get out of the way of that screen to take to get out of the way of that charge. And Pascal dunks the ball. And it's just like, man, I love when the ball's in Scotty's hands. Like I fucking love it.
And
I feel so confident with him.
He's such a good decision maker. More plays in the second half for him. He had that pass to Pascal. Then he had another one where he was trailing the play. Gary was dribbling it. Gary kind of pitched it back to him, and then he had like a rocket no-look pass inside to Chris Boucher. Just something.
Is that the left-handed one?
No, it was the one where he was just. It was the left-handed one, yeah.
Yeah.
And then he had another one on the left side of the court, second half, top of the 3-point line, where he somehow no look again. It's always a no look. Bullet pass into Precious. Precious blows the dunk. He gets the 3-point play. After
yeah,
it.
right.
But man, and then Scotty had one nice little catch and shoot mid range, and then one really nice mid range where he took it to the middle of the floor, faded. Mm-hmm. I just thought he did. This kind of shows the type of player he is, because he can have games where he explodes with step back threes. But then he can have a game like this where he is like such an amazing positive on the court, where he's just dictating the offense. I think because it's pretty special to have an impact on the game when you're having a play called for you every single time. Or in his case, just being a smart player, finding cracks in the offense, pointing and telling guys where to go. Like, man, he's so special.
It seems like there's always a way he can impact the game.
Yeah.
The offense on the defense. Every possession on both sides of the floor, there's something he is doing to positively impact the team.
Yeah, I gotta say his defense.
Really special for
his defense this game definitely stepped it up. He was really getting out and really getting to those spots. One thing that we know Scotty Barnes for being a great defender for is being able to get to those spots, whether it's a big or a small guard, is being able to get to those spots and predict where they're going to go. And that's one of the things that makes you key an elite defender, is being able to get to those spots. And I don't think there's anything I could complain about in his defensive performance this game. I actually do remember he was guarding Jakob Poeltl and down low, and Jakob kind of went up for this like hook shot, and Scotty had his arms straight up in the air, and he did such a great job guarding a guy who had, like, in terms of height, has outsized him, but it didn't look like it. He was so strong and held his position on the court, not to foul him or anything, but to keep himself straight, upright, and have a great defensive position. And then Jakob, I'm pretty sure, he missed the shot for sure, but I can't remember if it was like a super bad miss. I'm pretty sure it was. But it was one of those plays where it's like you could really trust Scotty to guard pretty much anybody, and you're going to be fine.
All right. Next guy I want to talk about is OG Anunoby. I think his return, we got to think about it. He's basically not played since the middle of November, and his return has been a little bit up and down this game. I'm not worried about the 3-point shot at all. He's proven time and time again he's a consistent 40% 3-point shooter. The one thing I would like to see improve a bit as we go forward is the decision making. I feel like he's the one guy right now in that starting lineup who's really kind of letting the ball stick. And then with him, when the ball sticks, doesn't have the same awareness as a guy like Pascal does to post up and pick out open men or see the double team coming. And I think he's gotten to a few plays where he's kind of just put his head down and lost where he is. I think a lot of that does come with like experience and time, and he has shown signs that he can be a really good passer or a good passer. I'd like to see it almost looks like the game's coming a little bit slow to him right now, or a little bit fast to him.
I think part of that is probably that he needs to gel with this, because it's a whole new lineup he's playing with too, right? So that's gonna be one thing, and I think but like you say, I think he has some tunnel vision right now. Mm-hmm. I think it's also because he hasn't been able to be himself yet because of the injury. So he's really just trying to get back to himself. He's kind of forcing it. And that'll happen. I mean, we saw that with we've seen it with Gary before. We've seen that with Pascal many times before.
Oh yeah.
So it doesn't worry me, but like I definitely think the court awareness has been a noticeable issue.
Totally.
Lately, but I think that'll come with getting more gel with the lineup and knowing where everybody's going to be. And yeah.
And another thing too is I think it's also NBA minutes. I mean, you can practice all you want in practice, but you already have I mean, you know so much about the guys that you play with and the guys that you practice with. When it comes to playing NBA minutes and when it comes to playing actual, like being out on the floor and feeling that real game sort of flow, it's definitely different. So and let's face it, like out of all the Raptors, OG's probably missed the most games, has he not?
Oh, I think so.
I think so.
Yeah, like for sure.
One of the main guys, yeah.
And especially because now, what is he played only 6 games now with with Pascal and Fred and Scotty. So
yeah, something like that, if that.
Yeah, so it's tough, and I think that maybe I mean OG. I think one of the reasons why I think is OG is reverting to the stuff he knows he can do. You know, like dribble drive, like he knows, and take people down low. He knows he can do that sort of stuff. He knows he can make the hustle plays, and not that he isn't making those plays. He is, but yeah, we do need him to maybe get into that flow a little bit more and fit with the team a little bit more, so that it's a little bit more synergy between the guys instead of when OG gets the ball, it's kind of the lone wolf sort of thing.
Yeah, that's I think he'll get there. Just
totally.
Would like to see that ball move a little bit quicker when he gets it. All right, just some final stats from this one. Fred VanVleet finishes with 33 and 7 on 12 of 23 shooting, 7 for 14 from 3. And then Pascal Siakam finishes with 18 and 12. His rebounding continues. 5 assists again, and 2 for 2 from the three-point line. So that's good to see from Pascal.
Sam, I have a question. How many of those rebounds were offensive rebounds for Pascal?
He had 2 offensive.
Okay, yeah, because I was thinking, I was like, it goes so Pascal's rebounding goes so unnoticed because I feel like offensive rebounds are noticed a lot more than defensive rebounds. But he's been just absolutely crashing those boards.
Oh, he's been awesome. Like that, we need that, right? For if we're not going to play with a center, someone like him and Scott and Scotty had 9 boards. Scotty finishes just shy of a triple double, 11 points, 9 rebounds, 8 assists, with only 1 turnover. Gary Trent Jr., nice bounce back game with 21 points on 8 of 16 shooting. And then OG finishes with 19 and 7 rebounds. Off the bench, Precious, 10 points. And Justin Champagny with 14 points.
Yeah, wow. Good for Justin.
Career high.
Yeah, man, good for Justin Champagny. I forgot to mention this before the game, but Svi and Yuta were both out of this one in health and safety protocols. So the only Raptor to not hit health and safety protocols now is Chris Boucher. So I guess, is that a good, I don't know, like maybe that like ends up like all the guys have gone through it now, like we don't have to worry about it. But I mean,
have we seen someone go in twice?
I mean, I don't know.
Actually, I think Precious didn't Precious go in twice actually.
I'm not sure.
I think they did near the start of it. I think he was in at the start of the season.
Yeah, that does sound familiar.
Before this huge wave.
Cam Birch went.
Before the huge wave, he was
Cam.
Cam Birch. No, was it Cam? Was it Cam?
Yeah, Cam.
Yeah.
Because I guess you can go in as many times, right? Because you can go in if you're just like close to someone, but you won't be in as long if you test negative.
Yeah.
But yeah, so hope those guys are all right.
Well, and you know, even if some of the guys end up actually getting COVID, I'm pretty sure Ontario reduced the days of isolation to 5 now instead of 10.
Yeah,
so
it's down to 5.
Even if they do, you know, end up getting COVID, at most these guys are probably gonna miss like 2 games, because they're probably gonna want to be back anyways. I mean, it's not like they would be functioning at full force, but at the end of the day, you know, that isolation period is shorter, so at least we could see them in practice sooner than we would have under the previous rules.
Or they can go to the gym or something like that, right?
Yeah.
Get back. All right, that's all I've got for this one. Great win. Raptors win 129-104. If you guys want to move on to player of the week, unless you have other big thoughts from this one.
There's 2 things I want to say about this game.
Sure.
I think one of the things that I wanted to say was, if there was anything that I noticed, there was a lot of pushing the basketball this game, a lot of transition basketball. I honestly think that was a theme through this whole game. I think as soon as we saw, especially with Pascal, I think as soon as we saw Pascal and Scotty grab a rebound, it was right to the other end. I think we saw a lot of points, especially for Pascal, coming from as soon as he gets the defensive rebound, he's running to the other end, and either he's scoring or he's getting an assist. And
I was going to make that point that I think a big reason why that ball is getting pushed so much is when Pascal and Scotty are the guys that are running the floor.
Yeah.
Because these guys aren't actual point guards right now anyway. They haven't done it enough. So they can't run half court sets as good as a regular point guard could. So when they're running the transition, they're leading that transition. That's where they thrive, right? As the primary ball handler. So that's what they try to do. They try to get out and run. And yeah, like you said, it was big this game.
Yeah, and damn, I don't think I remember what I was gonna say.
No, sorry.
Yeah, never mind. Mostly the main thing I did actually have as the point was the transition basketball. I was just very impressed to see us being able to do that, because I think that's another one of the things that I think we do as a team. Maybe we've seen less of in previous games, but I think we saw it a lot. Actually, sorry, I do remember. The last thing I wanted to say was I think that we, at least from our offense, we were rolling. We were absolutely rolling this game. I think we one of the reasons why we struggled in the first and part of the second quarter was just because of our defense. I don't really think anything bad was coming of our offense. This was another one of those games where the game, it feels like we're winning, but actually we're down maybe a couple points. But our offense this whole time, it was immediate pass, screen, roll. It was pass, shoot, dribble, in. Like we were. It was one after another. Great plays, great chemistry, and I think we all had just such a great mindset going into this game, and it seemed like there was a flow. I'm struggling to find the actual word, but it was a sort of a fast-paced roll to the game that it seemed like we were just firing through our sets. We knew what we were doing. Every time we got the ball, we were finding each other, and it was just nice to see that, because I don't really think I've seen much of that this season, honestly, besides the New York game and this Spurs game.
Yeah, it's the chemistry's looked great with everyone healthy. Like, the offense has just been so much better than I could have predicted before the season.
Right.
I actually predicted bottom 5, so.
You did. The chemistry has been like surprisingly really good, because like they barely played together, right? But it's still shaky at times. You can still see that they've only played a few games together at times. But also, like, I think part of it is you got to remember these guys, a lot of them have already played together for a long time. A lot of them know what their habits are. And a lot of it is transition basketball, which is a big part of it, because you don't really need a lot of chemistry to have a good transition basketball team. You just need guys that are willing to run and have good, quick decision-making, which we do. But, yeah, no.
All right, player of the week?
Player of the week.
Let's do it.
Go ahead, one of you guys.
I'll start it off. So my player of the week, believe it or not, is our all-star, Fred Vanvleet.
I think we should honestly just say like our player of the week. Does anyone?
Our player of the week.
Yeah, our player of the week.
RapChat player of the week.
One of us. This is all of us. So
Yeah.
Why don't we just go
The
and
RapChat
say,
player of the week.
What we liked about Fred.
Yeah, let's shower
Man,
Fred with
Fred.
praise.
So I saw a stat a few hours ago also. Fred Vanvleet, take this in for a second. Fred Vanvleet is the first player in NBA history to have back-to-back 30-point, 5-assist, 5-3, 0 turnovers in a game.
Wow.
So Steph Curry's never done that. Chris Paul's never done that. Kyrie Irving's never done that. Damian Lillard, Steve Nash, the list goes on. That's just having no turnovers with 5 assists, 5 threes, and 30 points.
That's
back-to-back
so
games.
insane.
He's the first guy ever. Isn't that crazy? I blew my mind.
It just goes to show
it's
how much of an unselfish player Fred is, and
well, it shows the IQ. It shows the lack of turnover.
Yeah.
I think that's the big part, because a lot of guys will get 30 points, 5 assists, and 5 threes, but it's the turnovers that don't do it. What he's doing is insanely rare, and if he doesn't make the All-Star team, part of me will understand, but part of me also just thinks he really deserves some recognition for what he's doing this year, because what he's doing is absolutely insane. And you take his height into account, his athleticism into account, he is not a regular-looking NBA player by any stretch of the imagination.
No.
He's about 5 inches shorter. His vertical is probably 10 inches lower than it should be. But he's making these crazy plays. He's making these huge historic feats. And and I guess we're just going to talk about Player of the Week. His past week has been exceptional and some of the best individual Raptors basketball I've ever seen.
One other stat, I guess, this week, his numbers from this week: 31 points, 35 points, 33 points, 9 assists, 5 assists, 7 assists, 4 made threes, 7 made threes, 7 made threes. He's the first. He's the only Raptor other than Kawhi Leonard to have 30 points in 3 straight games.
Wow.
And I was so wrong. I always knew Fred VanVleet was going to be a good player. And even coming into the season, though, I never thought he could be like your lead guard best player. Like I didn't think he could be like a full-time point guard, and he is totally he has balanced his scoring with the passing. He fits so well with our other pieces. Like, well, we can't ask anything more of him. His defense has been awesome. Like
Yeah, I mean, if there's one word to describe Fred VanVleet, I think it's just elite. Like it's just he's truly it's so crazy. Like, I mean, I don't want to overstate how good Fred is, but over these I'd say within the past 10 games he's played like a true NBA superstar. I watch him and I'm just like, this is incredible. Like it is so hard to score 30 points on a consistent basis in the NBA and have a 3-point shooting percentage as high as his, and especially over the last 10 games, and it's just, honestly, it's so remarkable. It makes me have so much faith in our organization and in our mentality as an organization and as a team, because it just goes to show that he's our poster child. Fred is our poster child. Yep. Like, he is the one. Him and Pascal are the two guys that you can look at and say, we made those guys. Like they are where they are because of who they are and because of our team. We choose guys like these on purpose. We go after guys like these because of who they are. And if you are a guy like this, it just goes to show how far you can go in this league. Because, Elias, just as you said, looking at his player profile, like, there would be nothing special about him, you know. That's why he went undrafted. If you look strictly at his objective profile, no stats or anything like that, he's like a 6 foot, maybe sub 6 foot guard. Like, you know, there's nothing particularly about his game that would stand out to you. But now, given his unbelievable development, and also let's also mention he's only 27. You know, he is still a young player in this league, and I think we have still yet to see the best of Fred VanVleet, in my opinion. I think we still have yet to see the best.
Yeah, he's entering his prime. Like, he's entering his prime right now.
Totally.
And we're talking about,
it's making me tear up, guys. I'm like, whoo.
We're talking about these gaudy offensive numbers, and he has a case for all NBA defense.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Oh my goodness.
Absolutely. And again, he is 6 feet tall and a stubby boy. Like, no one saw this coming.
Yeah.
None of us can say we saw it coming. Nobody saw it. Masai Ujiri probably didn't see this coming. He probably thought we got a solid backup point guard at best when we picked him up.
Yeah.
Like, and now he's a borderline, I think, all-star. I think he is an all-star, but he's
an
a borderline all-star. He is an all-star. I want to make this point also. I think any Raptors fan who watches these games will tell you he's an all-star. And then, I mean, I watch, like, Sam does too. We watch a lot of the NBA just in general. We watch a lot, like, all around. And unbiasedly, I will say he's an all-star. But if you don't watch Raptors basketball, a lot of non-Raptors fans won't say he's an all-star. They simply won't, because he's on the Toronto Raptors, and his numbers look the same as, like, Russell Westbrook's if you look at the stat lines. So people are going to be like, oh, well, then why isn't Russell Westbrook an all-star? I want you non-Raptors fans to go watch the next Toronto Raptors game, and I want you to see what he's doing right now, and I want you to take into consideration the size of him, because it is seriously unheard of. Like I think this needs to be talked about more among the league because you don't see his name spread around right now. You see it on the Toronto Raptors pages, but you don't see this on NBA's page or on Bleacher Report or things like that.
7 3-pointers, but come on, 7 like how can they post literally anybody but the Raptors and anybody but Fred VanVleet? Like that just pisses me off, man. They don't give Canada the fair share, especially when Canada has the most players outside of the U.S. In the NBA, and they still don't show us love. It's like, yo, like. Aside from Americans, we have the most players that are playing in the NBA, and especially the Spurs. Like, look at a guy like Josh Primo. This guy is unreal. Like, give some respect to Canada basketball, whether it's the Toronto Raptors or just guys coming out of Canada in general.
Fred, I didn't realize he was shooting this well. Is shooting 40% from 3 on 9 attempts a game. Like
9 attempts,
that's
dude.
Crazy.
That's a lot.
That's crazy.
And like I said. He is shooting 50% on catch and shoot threes, which is number 1 in the NBA, and he's 66 for 132. Wow. So he's made half of 132 catch and shoot threes, man.
He's elite, man.
Feet
said it.
tall.
He's elite.
He's elite. He's an all-star.
Get him to the All-Star game. He's probably not going to be a starter, but just get him in there as a reserve. Like, God, that's crazy, man. To go from undrafted to one of the best point guards in the league.
I hope, because again, a lot of non-Raptors fans would probably put LaMelo Ball over Fred VanVleet in the All-Star game. I love LaMelo Ball, man, but the difference right now, Fred has him beat so much.
It's both ends. It's both ends too.
It is both. We're beating a dead horse right now. I feel like, but we're really trying to emphasize like Fred VanVleet is the man, dude.
Totally.
He is something. He's a different breed.
All right. Well, we just talked about one of the shortest guys. I think it's probably time to talk about some tall guys. We're gonna continue. We're gonna continue our top 10 positional rankings, and we are now on power forwards, so we're almost at the end here. This was the most excited I've been. This was a crazy list. I am excited to see. Yeah. I kind of wanted to do what Luke did at one point because like this is my favorite position to watch just because all the versatility. Most of my favorite players are power forwards. But man, this was hard to do. Like, yeah, he can transition.
No, this was. He can be everything. No, this is a really hard one, dude. I switched it so much. We'll get into it. I don't want to talk about too much. Let's dive right in.
Luke, are you going to do 10 or 5?
5 for me.
Okay. Awesome. Go ahead, Elias, then.
I'm going first? All right. I'm so excited for 2 years. My number 10 power forward in the NBA is John Collins.
Oh, my God. You're so different. Okay.
Really?
Oh, my God. Okay, go ahead.
Oh, dude. So I had probably 2 or 3 more guys that could have beat John Collins here. I want to shout out Tobias Harris. He did not make my list. He doesn't do enough for me. He's a scorer and a shaky one at that, especially this season. Another one was Miles Bridges. He did not make my list. Not enough two-way action. John Collins has become a better defender over the years because I remember what playoffs it was a couple years ago when he had to play center in the playoffs.
Last year.
Was it last year? Oh, no, but it was last year he did it pretty well. But I'm saying there was one year where it was really exposed that he could not play center. And I think this is before he's even like a good shooter. He's shooting 40% from 3 this year. This is before he became a good shooter. He had to play center. So what he was a very he was a down low power forward, which is not what ideal in the NBA right now. So he had to play center for a playoff series. I think it was against Philly maybe. And he got really exposed. He was like, wow, he can't be a 5 and he can't shoot. Tough. And his defense is getting really exposed. Then last season, he had to play center for a bit when Clint was out for a little bit during the playoffs. And he really stepped up. And this season, he's had his best defensive season. And again, shooting 40% from 3. And he's a strong dunker. He's a very aggressive finisher. Can be a solid rim protector. I think his rim protection is still not where it could be, but I could definitely. He's still really young, right? So that can improve. But yeah, John Collins, number 10.
one of the best like supporting guys in the league.
He's ideal for Trae Young.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. My number 10 is Miles Bridges. He did make my list. He's had a breakout year this year. I always liked Miles Bridges as like an off the bench sort of spark plug, could pass a little bit, super athletic. But this season, his 3-point shot has kind of fallen away. I'm not super worried though. I think it'll even out, maybe around 35%. But like on the offensive end, he can do so much now. His shot creation has really grown. He can really get to the rim. He can punish mismatches. He can play a bunch of positions. He can be a roll man. He can be a popper. He can handle the ball in the pick and roll. I think he's a great fit next to LaMelo. He does a lot of the shot creation, like down the stretch for the Hornets, over even Hayward. And the defense has to come around. He's got the tools to be a good defender, so I think he can definitely get better. But it's like I think he's such a consistent force on the offensive end. I think you could just rely on him, like basically giving you 20 points, 7 rebounds, few assists a game, and can just fill a bunch of different roles. Like I could see him being like a fourth option and being super, super impactful, or on like a lesser team being the second option and still doing a really good job. So yeah, Miles Bridges is my number 10.
Yeah, the reason I didn't put Miles Bridges on is because I hadn't seen it long enough.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess I'm kind of going against my number 9. I'll say my number 9. I kind of just totally went against what I just said, but my number 9 is Evan Mobley.
My 9 too.
Okay, cool. Okay, so I guess let me go back to where I said Miles Bridges. I feel like I haven't, because John Collins' Miles Bridges is really tough for me. The reason I didn't put Miles, because I love Miles Bridges too, I really wanted to put him on, but the reason I didn't is because the start of the season he was outstanding, and now I feel like he's kind of falling back to earth. And you see his stats; he's still almost averaging 20 a game. But I feel like what he's been doing the past 2 months, I don't want to say that's not close to what he's doing the first, or I guess past month. I don't want to say it's not even close to what he's doing the first month of the season. But I think those stats are really balancing out where he started out really hot, and now he's had some pretty cold games, some pretty inconsistent games. So that was my thing with. I feel like John Collins was more. It's been more consistent. Evan Mobley by number 9. You can make a legitimate argument for all defensive team for Evan Mobley as a rookie.
He's awesome,
absolutely,
man.
and Sam and I have this discussion a lot about Evan Mobley, and because we talk about the rookie of the year debate with him and Scotty Barnes, about a month ago, I guess. This was before I was watching a ton of Cleveland games. I've been watching a lot of Cleveland games recently. But before I was watching a ton, and I was like, yeah, he's good. He can defend solidly, but man, when you actually watch him, he can do it all. His length takes up half the width of the damn court, dude. And he can guard on the perimeter. His feet are quick enough, and he just turned 20, I think. Like he's so young.
He's next level, man. Like his defense is the best rookie defense I've personally seen in my lifetime of watching basketball. Like
I think I can agree with that.
I think the offense, like the other night, he had a great game where he was hitting pull-up jumpers. He can finish inside. He can be a roll man. I think the 3-point shot will come around. A great passer for his position. And the defense, like Cleveland plays 3 7-footers, one of which is Lauri Markkanen, not super versatile defensively, and Jared Allen. I hated it.
Before this, I hated that start. The idea of that at the start of the season, I hated it. When they signed Markkanen, I was like, "What?
Yeah."
Now you have all these big guys. You're gonna bring Markkanen off the bench for $65 million, but no, they're actually starting off 3, and it's working incredibly well.
And it works because of Evan Mobley, right? Because he can guard 3 through 5. Exactly. He can switch.
Yeah. His length hides Markkanen's. Markkanen, he's had a better defensive season, but it's not like Mobley hides his relatively poor defense.
Yeah. All right. I'll move on to number 8.
I just want to say one last thing. I think Evan Mobley can be just as good defensively as Rudy Gobert on the interior, just as good as Draymond Green on the perimeter. And I think his offense could be just as good as Anthony Davis's.
Yeah, he's so special, man.
I think he can be. I think he could be something crazy.
Yeah. He's got the
Anyway,
there's really no massive weakness in his game.
No, there's not.
All right, my number 8. My number 8 is Julius Randle.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Wait, so
I really dropped Julius Randle. I'm personally not high on him at all. I think his career, I thought last year was a bit of a fluke season for him. I think he's much more like the New Orleans and this season's type player than he is last year's player. The defense has completely disappeared this year. The shooting last year was really, like, I don't want to say lucky because he obviously puts the work in, but like it was a lot of contested shots, shots that weren't really like sustainable. And I think I knew Luke would laugh at that.
Yeah, me too. I was waiting to hear it.
And the 3-point shot is sort of there. That the deep twos, like, you don't know what you're getting from every night. The turnovers, like the playmaking's fine, like it's good, but why? Like
the shot
what's
selection's not good.
The shot selection's bad. I think a lot of it is because he's on a team where he's asked to do way too much. But at the same time, if he's on a team with better players and he's just sitting in the corner, what's he bringing to the table? And I just feel like my guys ahead of him, while they might not be as like, they might not have like as big of moments as Julius Randle. I think they can consistently provide like really high level impact no matter what team they're playing on. And that was sort of my criteria for dropping him down. And I just really think his offensive style, it really hurts your team. Like he's, like we were talking about how the Knicks really fell back this year, and his play has got to be one of the main reasons for that, right?
Yeah, totally.
And this, if he was like a consistent good defender, he'd probably be my top 6. It's just he's not even giving anything on that end, so I have trouble ranking Julius any higher.
Yep. No, that's all fair. Okay, my number 8. I'm gonna get some Elias's bias here.
Oh wow.
My number 8. My number 8 is Scotty Barnes.
Wow, he did not make my list.
I assume that's why I was like, whoa, when you said Julius Randle, because I was like, no way, he's higher than 8. So Scotty Barnes, my number 8, because he's still my rookie of the year. So it's not Evan Mobley right now. The reason, okay, the way I tried to rank during all these lists, I rank how much they bring to a team, and I think Scotty Barnes brings so much positivity to a basketball team, and I think he brings relatively no negativity to a basketball team. He can play make for you. His rebounding is extremely good. He's turning into a scorer before our eyes, and he was now it's not what he was in college. So his development has become very rapid. And I mean, simply put, we've talked about Scotty Barnes all season. I won't get too into him, but I think really he brings so much to a team, so much. And him and Evan Mobley, I'm still really close in the whole thing, but as a Toronto Raptors fan, I'm going to put him over a little bit. But I think they both bring so much to a team. That's why they're both in my list. Like over Tobias Harris, I don't think he brings much to a basketball team. To be honest, I think he brings scoring, and his defense isn't good, and even his scoring hasn't been good this year, really, for what he's used to doing. And Miles Bridges, again, I think he's too inconsistent. I think like Scotty Barnes, every night you're going to get something great from Scotty Barnes, whether it's scoring, whether it's passing, whether it's his defense. There's always going to be something there. So that's why I had Scotty Barnes.
Yeah, he was my next cut. He was my 11th guy, and he was on my list for a little bit as well. But I just thought my thing was Miles Bridges. I think I can trust the scoring a little more, and I just kind of wanted to give him some love because I had a feeling he was probably going to crack yours. And then I've kind of always been like him and Mobley are right there, rookie of the year for me, but I've always leaned a bit Mobley.
If Mobley got it, I'm not complaining. I think he's been stellar. They've both been stellar.
The fact that we're even talking about Scotty Barnes in this context is pretty crazy.
It's absolutely
that he's even like in conversation for this.
Would not have seen it coming. Everybody was going crazy when we drafted him. Everyone's like, "You didn't take Suggs."
I was too. I was going crazy.
I wasn't. I'm gonna flex that for this whole career that I was. I called it. Okay, I'll go. So I'll go back first. So I'll see my number 7 now. First.
Go ahead.
Okay, my number 7 is Jaren Jackson Jr.
Mine as well.
Okay. Oh wow. So you had someone really high on your list.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. Yeah. So Jaren Jackson Jr. For me, his offense has been real consistent this season, and I think don't get me wrong. I think he is a great defender, but I think I don't think he's much of a team defender if that makes sense. I think what he can do individually on the defensive end is good, is really good. But I think he's not a defensive anchor, at least that I want him to be. So I think just the combination of shaky offense, shaky shooting mostly, and his defense is still great, but it's not upper tier in my opinion. I think just the combination of those things brings you to him being 7 on the list. Because just ultimately, defense, you're going to get good, but every night. But his offense, you don't really know what you're going to get from every night, and that kind of is my penalizer for him.
Yeah, I've got Jaren at 7 as well. The offense, the 3-point shot is really shaky, but he has gotten a lot better inside, and he can actually get to the rim and do some stuff off the dribble now. And then I'm a little higher on the defense than you are. I love his versatility on that end, and I do think in the future he can transition to a full-time 5. I think he's got the size to do it. So I'd really like to see his defense as a 5 full-time. He's not quite there yet because he still fouls a lot.
And that's kind of where I'm hesitant with his defense because I don't know what he can do really at a 5 yet. We haven't seen him at a 5 much. That's kind of why I'm hesitant with it. But yeah, no, I definitely do think his defense is great though.
All right, my number 6. I actually had this guy at number 5 for a little bit, wow. But I have John Collins at 6.
Wow.
Here's my reasoning. John Collins has probably, he's got, I think, Jaren Jackson, Mobley, Scotty Barnes, they all have way more potential than him. He hasn't had the highest as highs as Julius Randle. I think, though, a guy that you can trust to be a 40% three-point shooter and one of the best rollers in the league is like kind of the perfect guy beside Trae Young, and I think that should still be rewarded. His defense, his above average defense, can guard 4s, can give you minutes at the 5. He's shown the ability to show a bit of stuff in the mid post when you need to, give it down to him. He can get a bucket, in a limited role. And yeah, I think I really like the thought of having. I think it's super valuable to have a guy you're throwing out there every game, and you know exactly what you're getting from him every single night. And I think we talk all the time about like these stretch bigs. And I think John Collins might be one of the best that isn't like an all like Jokic. Like I think the fact that you can shoot 40% while also like being one of the best rollers in the league, I think that's super valuable. And I think a lot of that is because of Trae, but I think John Collins he's not as good as this guy by any means, but like almost like the Amari Stoudemire to Steve Nash, like for Trae. He's not as individually skilled as Amari, but I love his dynamics to Trae, and I think I think he's almost been like he's not going to make the All-Star team for me, but if they had a better record, I think he'd totally be in consideration for me. The thing that held me back with John Collins was what can he really do without Trae Young? No, yeah,
that was
not much.
That's exact. So like I want to see him without one of the best passes in the league to. I mean, hey, like, I think that's the whole thing I put Mobley and Barnes on because I think Mobley and Barnes can do what they're doing at any team. I don't know what John Collins can do without a Trae Young. Yep. So that was my whole thing with him.
Yeah, that's a good point. He's not a guy who's gonna go get his own shot or anything.
Yeah, exactly.
Luke, do you want to kick the top 5 off?
I didn't say my number
you're
6.
You're 6. Sorry, man.
Yeah. That was good. My number 6 is Julius Randle.
Okay.
He was last year. He would have been top 4 for me. He has fallen off. Sam was absolutely right about the New York Knicks. I'll say it at the start of the year. Our very first podcast, I said guaranteed top 6, and you said guaranteed not top 6, and you were absolutely right. Hey man, like shout out to you. You said the whole thing was a fluke before the season even started. I think what you said was absolutely true about him, where it's really leveling out to he is that 2 year ago Knicks player and that New Orleans Pelicans player, where just I don't think his impact can be as big as they're trying to make it to be, positively anyway. And just like as far as his shooting goes, his field goal percentage is lower than the average NBA point guards, and he's a 6'9", 6'10" power forward, right? Like that speaks a lot to the poor shots he's taking. But as far as positives go, I mean, he's a great playmaker. He will hit tough shots for you. He's had good plays in clutch situations. His rebounding, his ability to run the floor, all these things are very good. But it's just the shot selection's really bad for me, and his defense hasn't been anything special this season or throughout his career. So,
all right,
yeah.
Luke, you want to start the top 5?
All right. Well, of course, anybody who's listened to the podcast before is going to know that my top 5 is not ranked. It's just people who are entertaining for me and people who I like to watch, and people who have an extreme amount of potential. And that's why in my list, my 5, but not necessarily in any particular order, was Evan Mobley, just because you know, he's our like contrast to Scotty Barnes, and like if there's any person who I just love watching is somebody who's so fundamental and then uses those fundamental skills to branch out and then create their own game. And like Evan Mobley is just one of those guys that, I mean, you could trust in almost any situation, and he's so young. Like I mean, he doesn't necessarily have the, like we were talking about before with Scotty. Like Scotty has this playmaking ability, you know, this ability to be that point forward. And like really be able to see the floor and stuff. And whereas I don't really think that they depend on Mobley for those same reasons why we depend on Scotty Barnes. But at the end of the day, like I think, and also another reason why is I love defensive players. I love guys who you know, prioritize defense. And the reason why is simply just because you know, the NBA is becoming a more fast-paced offensive game, and you need and of course, like in basketball, the offense is always at the advantage, right? Because you know, it's not necessarily like you're running a specific set. The offense is always going to have, like, and that's just in a fundamental way, the advantage of the game of basketball. And so to be a good defensive player means that you have such a high IQ and high awareness of what you're doing on the court and what other players are doing on the court, and that you're able to analyze a player profile and be able to know what sorts of things that these players most likely and are least likely to do. And when you see Evan Mobley play, it's like his defensive game is just flawless, like just so flawless. And to say that at such a young age is pretty awesome. I'm really actually quite disappointed that the Cavs lost Ricky Rubio, just because I think he was fitting in so well with that team, and I think he was having himself such a great season being a part of that group. I mean, we'll see how he comes back next season, but I mean, with an injury like his at this late in his career, it's hard to be optimistic about
tough, dude.
About how he's going to come back. Then again, Ricky Rubio's not an extremely explosive player. You know, he's not somebody who like, I mean, I think a lot of people depend on Ricky Rubio for his decision-making abilities. Similar, one of the reasons why they probably got Rajon Rondo is just because of that ability that he has to, you know, be able to make the smart plays. And you know, overall, I can't really say how much of an impact that's going to have on their season. I just think he was gelling so well. But the Cavs are a fun team to watch. They're not the team that had LeBron on that team. They're an entirely new group. And I'm very just excited to see how they do in general. And man, I think Evan Mobley's just going to be a problem, man. He's going to be an absolute problem in this league.
For sure.
No question. Sam?
All right, my number 5 is Domantas Sabonis.
Me too.
I am actually like I wanted to put him lower because I'm just not a big fan of his play style. I don't love like bigs who are ball dominant and can't shoot and can't defend. But his inside game and his passing are both really good. I think his passing might get overrated a little bit, but I think his passing would open up more if he was a little bit more versatile on the offensive end. But like as a play hub, right at the high post, he can do a lot. Great roller, like one of the best finishers inside, and probably one of the 5 best like back to the basket type guys. But yeah, like I can't really put him over any of the other guys. Like I just don't think he's versatile enough, and I think a guy like Evan Mobley, Scotty Barnes will jump him pretty soon. But I mean, for what he does though, he's pretty elite at what he does.
Yep. Pretty much same points here. It's his lack of versatility for me that doesn't really do it. I think he's more of a center though. I don't think he's I don't like he's being asked to play like a power forward, which is why he's shooting a lot of threes, and I don't really think that's his game. I think his playmaking is very good for his position. Again, I totally agree that I think it's overrated though. Like he's people call him one of the best big man passers, and like I'm not gonna say he's not, but I wouldn't just say that. I wouldn't say that about him. I wouldn't put him in a conversation like that. Yeah. You know what I mean? But he's a dominant rebounder. He's dominant down low, and he's Domantas Sabonis. Yeah. All right. Luke, your number 4.
Number 4 coming in for me, Draymond Green. Of course, it's I feel like I want Sam to talk a little bit more about Draymond when he gets to Draymond because Sam is Draymond. If Sam is a basketball player, he's Draymond and Pascal. Minus the height disadvantage, but in terms of the how you play and how the players you idolize. Yeah. But yeah, like I'm honestly just gonna say Draymond, and I'll wait till Sam goes ahead with his.
My number 4 then is Pascal Siakam. I mean, we're not going to talk about him too much. We've talked about him a ton, but I mean,
given that this is the RapChat podcast, you'd hope we talk a little bit about Pascal Siakam.
Pascal is when we talk about the best big man passers, his name has to be mentioned. One of the most versatile defenders on this list. Can score at the basket, lethal in the mid-range this season. The only thing, you look at his offense, the only thing that he really doesn't do is shoot the 3 ball, but he makes up for it with his cutting, with his just overall IQ. Just such a, I mean, awesome bounce back year for him so far. He's just really come into form and does like kind of whatever the Raptors need him to do on a specific night. He can be a scorer. He can be a playmaker. He can rebound apparently like Dennis Rodman now. And
a defender, man. His defense.
Super versatile defender.
My number 4 is also Pascal Siakam. I mean, Sam pretty much covered it most. I've had a emotional roller coaster with Pascal Siakam over the past 2 years, but I think he's finally settled down as I've loved. Man, I've seen it from like the past month. His rebounding, his defensive versatility is something that's huge for me. I think he's at this position, he's one of the most versatile defenders. Like top 3 probably. I mean, Draymond's number 1, and then you put him and Jaren. I think they're pretty close together there. And like you said, on offense, all he really doesn't do is shoot the 3. But something I really respect about him is that he understands that his 3 ball isn't falling now. Because last year that was the problem, right? And the start of this year is that he kept shooting, but it stayed at 30%, and it's like that's a lot of the balls not going in. But he's finally understanding that look, it's not working. Let's figure something else out. And he's working that mid range. He's working that post game. The spin moves back, and it's better than ever. So number 4, Pascal Siakam. Luke,
sorry. Mine's Pascal. So we just talked about Pascal. So Pascal as well. One thing I do want to say is I think that one of the reasons why maybe he didn't shoot the 3 ball as well in past years was because he was he was being dependent on for things that were too much. He had too much responsibility, being dependent on things that he was not that guy to be able to do. No, like because we didn't have guys like Gary Trent. You know what I mean? Like we didn't.
And see him becoming Fred becoming the guy is letting Pascal not have to be the guy, right? And I think we're seeing in a much more comfortable role as not being the number 1 option.
Absolutely. And I think that now, I mean, just within the Spurs game, we saw him drop I think he only shot like 2 threes, but or something like that, but they both went in. Or I know for sure he made 2 threes last game. And I
think he was 2 for 2.
Yeah. And so, and they were in rhythm shots. They were great. And to be honest, I think that once he starts getting in his bag a little bit more when it comes to his mid range and the post in the mid post sort of thing, I think that he can stretch the floor if he does have the opportunity to shoot a little bit less, if that makes any sense. You know, I think that giving him less opportunities at threes can actually be an advantage for him because then, you know, he doesn't feel the pressure. He doesn't feel the pressure to make those threes. So then when he shoots the 3, when he does shoot the three, if he goes like whatever it is, maybe 2 for 4 or 1 for 3 or something like that, it's not the end of the world because it also reminds players that he can also shoot the three sometimes. So he caused a player to guard him like that. But I don't want to spend too much time to talk about Pascal because this is a RapChat podcast, right?
Okay, can I say my number 3 first?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, my number 3 is Anthony Davis.
Well, I didn't have the guts to do this. I wanted to, but I couldn't do it.
I had to do it, man. This is the big change I made that I was talking about. Look, man, we're talking about. So let me give Anthony Davis his respect first. He is one of the best power forwards you've ever seen. I disagree with it. He was put on the top 75 NBA players of all time list. I disagree heavily. But he is an NBA champion. He is averaged probably, I don't have the stats up right now, but he's averaged about 25 points a game for his career, and about 12, 13 rebounds for his career. His defense is impeccable. But we got to talk about effort right now. The difference in effort between, I'll just say Draymond's my number 2, so obviously. The difference.
Well, how about
between,
my 3's Draymond, my 2's AD. So
yeah. The difference in effort between these two is immense. And then I've been watching a lot of the Warriors this year, and just watching that Warriors Heat game a few days ago. He does so much for that Golden State Warriors team, and they are the best team in the league right now, record-wise. And not even just this season, but his entire career, his whole career in Golden State, he has been such an integral part of all their championship runs. The first ring in 2015 was their first ring. I don't think they get a ring without him. And
I think they lost the first round of the playoffs the year before.
Yeah,
I think so. And that was before and then Draymond started coming into his own, right?
Something like that.
Yeah.
But no, and when watching Anthony Davis past 2 seasons has been so frustrating because his talent is there. Absolutely, you saw their championship year. And their championship year, you saw that from him, right? He was an amazing basketball player. He was trying really hard. You could see he wanted to win the championship. But it seems like after he won, he just is like, okay, I did it. I'm good now. And there's no effort, man. The reason he gets his numbers is because he's a very talented basketball player. His size is crazy. He's going to get those numbers whether he wants to or not, right? But when you look at Draymond Green, every point, every rebound, every assist, every steal, every block, he is working hard for. Every defensive possession, he is working so hard. And there's not enough I can say about Draymond Green's work ethic and what he brings to the Golden State Warriors legacy.
Man, so Draymond Green he just does. I think he is one of, not even just big men, pure passers. He's top 10 in the league for me. Steph Curry is amazing. Like, Steph Curry would be amazing no matter what. But Draymond, with his screen setting, his passing, he's one of the only guys he'll score. He couldn't score. He'll take one shot in a game, but he'll have like 13 rebounds and 17 assists, 3 blocks, 2 steals, and he's coordinating
and 1 turnover
defense.
maybe.
Yeah, and he's the smartest guy on the court, right? He knows where everyone has to be offensively,
their point guard.
Defensively. Yeah, he's a point guard in a power forward's body.
He's a Golden State Warriors point guard. Steph Curry, he plays off the ball more than Draymond does. Draymond's is the guy they give the ball to in the half court offense.
Yeah, and with Draymond against like the Suns, he was guarding Chris Paul, and then he'll guard Anthony Davis, or he'll guard a role player but be amazing in the paint, and he does everything kind of except score, but it doesn't matter because he does everything else at like an absolutely elite level.
Yeah. I just can't watch Anthony Davis this season due to last. Like it's so much wasted potential I'm seeing from him, man. And just
you know what,
Anthony
Davis is my number 3. Anthony Davis is my number 3.
Let's go.
Draymond Green can bump out to 2, man. I should have done that before.
He deserves it.
I didn't have the guts.
He deserves it.
I need to see
I didn't for a while either. I didn't need it. And then I was shout out my friend Braden Smith. We were having a conversation about this, and I was like, yeah, my list would probably be Giannis at 1, AD at 2, and he's like, 80 at 2, seriously? And I'm like, well, yeah, who's gonna go over them? Then we started talking about Draymond, and I was like, man, you're so right.
Yeah.
He just, it's easy to say Anthony Davis at 2 because he's amazing. He is amazing.
Yeah.
But man, when you're really watching basketball games and you really see what Draymond Green does for that team, it is crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Who's your number 2, Luke?
My number 2, strictly for the highlight reel, was Miles Bridges, just because he's so
Perfect.
entertaining to watch, and I mean maybe less so as of recent, as we've kind of discussed a little bit, but I still think that he has a lot of upside, and that every player goes through droughts, and I think that if you're looking at the Charlotte Hornets in general, I don't think they've started the same. They've have the same energy as a team. No matter who you're talking about on that team, from the beginning of the season until right now. So,
yeah.
When it comes to Miles Bridges, I don't know. I just can't get the Miles Bridges out of my head.
He's such a good duo with Eric Collins, that announcing.
Oh my god,
with him,
that whole
and
team
LaMelo.
and the commentators are a match made in heaven.
Yeah.
That is the most entertaining team to watch. Match with the most enthusiastic commentators.
Totally.
I have a feeling we all have the same number 1, maybe.
Utah Watanabe.
Yeah.
Every time, every position. I don't. What else can you say? Giannis Antetokounmpo.
The Greek freak. The Greek freak.
Yeah, the Greek freak.
Number 1.
Who's been probably my MVP now. I think he's overtaken KD recently. I don't know what you can say about Giannis.
Dude,
he
could
we can't say anything
MVP of the
about him.
league
He's
for the next
Giannis.
3 years. No cap.
Yeah.
He has that, but much potential.
Oh,
If we're talking about Giannis, do you guys think he goes down as top 15 player of all time?
top 10.
Oh, for
Top 10.
sure.
You think so? I don't know if I want to say top 10, but I can definitely. If you look at he's how old is he now? 27.
27.
Yeah, so he's just entering his prime.
He's 27, and he's a
That's
2-time
crazy.
MVP, champion, Finals MVP, Defensive Player of the Year. How many All-Star games? How many All-NBAs? He's insane.
He could be in the GOAT conversation when it's all said and done, dude.
You don't know. You never know.
And I mean, we see guys like LeBron develop a much better 3-pointer later in his career. Giannis do the same thing, and then it's like, what can't Giannis do at that point?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And honestly, the conversation
And,
isn't what can he do. It is what, like you said, it is what can't he do. There's nothing. He truly is a freak. He has the body of somebody and moves like he has the body and moves like he has the body of somebody who's 6'5", 6'6", and he's basically 7 feet tall. He's unbelievable. He's just so huge. And when you sometimes when you watch him play, he just looks like a my player, like a 2K guy who you just you max out on absolutely everything. He looks like an enigma out there. He's just this person or this thing that is separated from the rest of the people out there. It's truly unbelievable to watch. If you actually I'd encourage anybody who will catch a Bucks game or watch the Bucks or likes the Bucks to just kind of sit and look at Giannis as he moves up and down the court and look at how isolated he is from everybody else in terms of just how big he is, what he's doing, and his just abilities. It's honestly unbelievable. It's borderline supernatural. Straight up. It's weird. It's insane to watch. I have no words to sometimes describe how good he is and just the type of player. I think that the NBA's never really seen a player like Giannis before.
No way.
No, and I don't know when we will again. To be honest, just his
never.
His strength with his physique is absolutely unreal.
And his attitude too, man. His personality.
Yeah.
It's one of the reasons why
he's such a good
if
guy.
somebody, I like the Bucks as a team, I really do. And if somebody would say oh, you're a bandwagon, honestly, I'd just be at this point, I don't really care if you call me a bandwagon or not. I just like the way they play. I like their mentality. I think it's very similar to how the Raptors organization works. And I love Giannis as a player, and I love any team he's on. But more in general, I do like the Bucks as a team. Like and I'm gonna be one of these guys who is the type of guy who's like, yeah, if you would have asked me like 4 or 5 years ago, oh, are you a Bucks fan? I would have been like, I don't watch the Bucks. You know what I mean? Like I don't really care. But now like. And it's because of Giannis, and sure, like call me a Bucks casual, whatever you want. I just know that every time I watch them play, and every time I see the Giannis, the team, I'm in awe, and I think I actually genuinely am appreciative that I'm living during this period of time where I'm actually getting to witness this, because it's fucking incredible.
Yeah, it's crazy.
So is he your number one, Luke?
My number one?
Is that your number one, Luke?
Giannis? That was me. Yeah.
All right. Do you guys want to do? Well, speaking of Giannis, the Raptors actually don't play against him tonight.
Yeah. About a half an hour.
He's not playing. Transitions today. You're killing the transitions.
Yeah, man. I've been on point. Raptors play the Bucks. The results will have been out by the time this podcast is released. It'll be a good test. Like even without Giannis, that's a good team.
I'm excited to see Fred go against Drew Holiday.
They had a good battle last time they played, so that'll be fun.
I want to see if he can keep it up.
And then we have a big test Friday night. The Jazz come to Toronto. Right. That'll be really interesting to what we do with Rudy Gobert and just the whole dynamic there. I have no idea what to expect, but it's going to be that's a big test for us.
Have we played the Jazz?
I would say that.
No, I don't think so.
No.
Yeah, I don't think. Yeah.
I would say that could be the game to start Kem Birch, but I don't think it's going to make much difference with Rudy Gobert, to be honest.
No. And then we probably will record before this, but in case we don't, Raptors play the Pelicans on Sunday night. And Pelicans, not a great team, but they try really hard.
Devontae Graham hits 75-foot shots.
Yeah, JV gets to come back to Toronto. I guess that'll be fun for him. No fans, but... Yeah, not much for that one.
All right. That's good.
Okay, I think that's
all I've got
for everybody.
All right.
Okay, well, just in time. We got a little bit of time before the Bucks game. All right, okay. Thank you guys, everybody, for tuning into the RapChat podcast. If you're watching on YouTube, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. And if you're listening on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever else you guys get your podcasts, make sure to leave us a rating and also leave us a review. You can find us on Instagram, TikTok, and Twitter, where we post new clips of the show every single week. I'm your host, Luke Dick.
I'm Elias Eldridge.
And I'm Sam Canny.
And we will see you guys next week. Peace out.
Peace.